Building a following of over 900,000 in less than a year, this creator has cemented himself as the people's GOAT. Known for his calm demeanor and delivery, he is able to explain fragrances in an easily digestible format. When he speaks, people listen. Able to sell out and create hype for fragrances just from making a 2-minute video about it, he knows what it means to hold power. He wields his power responsibly by coming up with crazy sales through his favorite partner, Joma Shop. The dollar sale comes to mind. His high-quality content is not only beautiful, but also aspirational, and served as a new benchmark for Frag Talk content when he hit the scene. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Wine by Goat, Cal Cologne.
That was really nice of you to say. Thank you. I'm shocked coming from you. That was so nice.
I'm a very nice person.
You are. When people get to know you, you are. You just seem scary at first. That was very nice. Thank you. Thank you.
I always start off with a crazy question, just to break the ice. So, you were born in Zimbabwe. You're living in America now. Do you consider yourself an African American?
Yeah. Good. Yeah. More like the Elon way, when he's like, I'm African American. I guess yeah, that way. And then yeah, I'm black and white. So yeah, I would say I'm African American for sure in that sense as well. I'm like African American in a lot of ways. We got a galaxy. My guy Flan, thank you for. Yes,
Okay.
I do consider myself African American. I do.
Okay. Did you spend any time there before you moved here?
In Zimbabwe. Yeah, so I was born in Zimbabwe and I moved to England actually when I was 8. And then when I was 15, I moved to Phoenix and now I'm 33. So I've lived 3 continents, 8 years, and then now America the longest. But yeah, like a child of the world essentially.
Do you see yourself leaving America anytime soon?
Not leaving ever permanently, but definitely eyeing up some. So I'm gonna try. I don't have my Zimbabwean passport yet. I'm in the process of getting it again, but I'm a dual citizen at the moment, so I'm British and American, and I definitely want a house in the UK. So yeah, I see myself being kind of like in Arizona. We call them snowbirds, where people disappear to like Canada or all over the world, and then they come back for the winter. I see myself doing that.
Okay. Do you speak any of the official languages?
Oh, just English. Just English.
So what pushed you to create content?
That's a really good question. So I've loved fragrances since I was 9 years old, and I've been a collector of many things. I don't know if you can see.
The sneakers?
Yes, the sneakers. That's like sports sign memorabilia. So I'm genuinely just a collector of a lot of stuff. But fragrances was my first collecting passion, and gosh, I'd say around like 2022 is when I started the whole like consuming TikTok fragrance content, and then I just started this like blind buying trend for myself. It was just like legit exciting, and every time I would get a box and I'd open it, I could only replicate that feeling on like roulette, genuine. Like the only way I can get the same thrill from opening a blind buy is literally gambling in Vegas. That's it. So for me, I loved the blind buy process, and it started to become a bit wild. It was like five a week I was doing. And my girlfriend, she kind of just told me after like 4 months of that, she was like, this is getting a bit weird, like what you're doing. Why don't you, so I own a production company. She said, why don't you start creating content and maybe you can get people to send you stuff for free? And I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Cause part of the business is we've run people's TikToks for years. So I always say an intimate knowledge with TikTok. I knew exactly how it worked. Like TikTok was looking for a specific type of hook. If you could be in a niche that was favorable, if you could film with high quality content, a good microphone, all of these were like boosters for yourself. but I didn't think it would go the way it did in the first month. That's for sure. But yeah, I just started because I just thought I could get some free bottles to offset the 5 fragrances that I was buying a week.
Okay. And you spoke about your production company. And so you're not a full-time influencer yet, are you?
No, no, today was literally like hours on the phone putting out fires for the actual company that I do on a day-to-day basis. That's a good question because I for sure can be slash I am, but I just juggle. I have to juggle both, if that makes sense. I can't just step away from like the people that work for us essentially. So it's a weird one, but yes and no. I'm a full time slash kind of not really.
Would you ever do it full-time?
Potentially. I own the business with my cousin, and we've been like childhood best friends. He's my cousin, but we've been like brothers since he's 2 years older than me. So like literally 2 and 0, we've been best friends. So he's the co-owner. Yeah, I think if it keeps going the way it's doing, like that's a conversation I could have with him of like, hey, this is going this way. Here's X amount of equity or something for you to run this full time by yourself. But at the moment, I'm fine doing it the way we're doing it.
Okay. Did you think that you would grow this fast this way?
No, no ways, no ways. No, I think I hit 10K in the first month, and I was like, oh wow, that's like really insane. And then month 2 was 50K, and I was like, ooh, that's insane. That's where it kind of stops. It stops here at 50K, and then it just kept snowballing. But no, never in my wildest dreams did I think I would get to, you said 900K in like just over a year. It's insane.
What is it about your content do you think that resonates with people?
It's a good question. I try to ask people whenever I meet them just because I'm curious as well. And I think I do a decent job of having different series on my platform. So when I've spoken to people about what they enjoy watching, some people will say the trade series, the blind buy unboxing series, the reviews, or that I speak on sometimes really expensive fragrances. So I have like an ecosystem that's kind of like webbed out into different niches of this niche that we all love and know. But I don't know. I think I'm just like a regular guy. I'm like 33. I'm just literally just a regular dude who loves fragrances, and I don't now. And when I started, I never tried to pretend to know what I was talking about, or I never looked at Fragrantica before doing reviews. I always just like try and describe it like I'm describing it to like a 5-year-old cousin, if that makes sense. I feel like that's the most helpful because I was a consumer of fragrance content, and it never helped me when people would say, I smell this and I smell the bergamot at the top. And that meant zero to me. I have no idea what that is. Whereas if I can describe it as like a diet Sprite with a little bit of coconut, that kind of paints a picture for people's heads. So yeah, I don't know. It could be a whole plethora of things. I have no idea.
So how do we achieve the signature Cal Cologne quality? Is it lighting? Is it camera? What's the most important piece?
Great question. And I got into a good, not debate, a good conversation with a lot of other creators. We were just I sent it to you, Usher, for this past 2 weeks ago and we were speaking, and a lot of the guys there were saying like they feel like it's fine to do mobile phone content. And I have a very different opinion because I come from the background and I like I keep on top of like TikTok's news on what they want out of creators. And for the last like 2 years, TikTok has made a very, very big push, whether it's through ads or just like articles, to where they are telling people, there he is, Evan. I had the conversation with Evan, I see him. TikTok is telling people we want high quality content. So for me, the most important thing is a camera and a lens. So I don't film with any external lights, but I'm filming with a pretty expensive lens that makes the picture very bright. So it looks like I'm using external lights. So for me, the most important thing for people starting out on TikTok, if you are serious about this, you have to invest in a camera and a lens. Because part of our conversation that night was, I don't know a single content creator in the fragrance space that's making mobile phone content that is under 100,000 followers that routinely pops off, meaning every once in a while they'll have a video go to 100K. I couldn't come up with a single person and they couldn't. And then I used Fragrance Flan as the most recent example. I said, came out of absolutely nowhere. Why? And my like hypothesis, if that's the word, is his aesthetic. He's got a unique look about himself, but mainly from a professional standpoint, it's the camera, it's the lighting, it's the audio, it's professional. So TikTok almost like if Flan and another person making mobile phone content made the exact same video, Flan is going to get pushed out to maybe 5,000 people in the algorithm. The person using the phone is going to get pushed out to the first 250. So TikTok just rewards people by having high quality content, in my professional opinion.
So you don't use any like extra lighting or nothing?
No,
Just
it's not needed. No, it's not needed for me. I just know that I just need to use the high quality lens, which makes it look very bright, contrasty, etc. And then they were asking me about a microphone. You don't really need a professional microphone because there's so many AI software tools to where I can take mobile phone footage and make it sound like it was recorded on professional podcast equipment. So for me, people can save their money on the microphone. The most important thing is the camera and the lens, for sure.
are you a Canon guy or Sony?
Lumix, our company's been using Lumixes for the last like 12 years.
Yeah. Now, how much has Halfeti contributed to your success?
How much is what, sorry?
How much has Halfeti contributed to your success?
All of it. And it's really, sometimes I get emotional speaking about this because it's one of the few moments in my life that an actual object is responsible for like a different trajectory in my life, if that makes sense. And that's really weird. I think it's really weird that I can like sit and hold this object. I'm like, oh wow, we have a story that goes back to 2021 or 2022. And then that was the almost like the gateway for this blind buying thing. And I convinced myself that like every blind buy would be as successful as my Halfeti. So Halfeti was just the start of this snowball that eventually led me to creating content. And then obviously I went to Dubai last year and I licensed my name to a fragrance that smells like Halfeti. Again, complete coincidence on that end. So like that then changed my life financially. So yeah, Halfeti is responsible for a lot of different points in my life. Very, very weird.
That being said, about your fragrance that smells similar, what is your relationship with Penhaligon's?
It's good. Actually, it's really good. And this is an interesting one because I wasn't, I didn't know what the vibe was going to be, etc. But yeah, it's very good. And I'm hoping to start doing like actual work with them in the next like year, which would be very, very cool. So it's good.
Okay, unexpected. You know how they are. Do you find niche brands are hesitant to work with influencers who push dupe brands?
Yes and no, because I see, I'd say Noel Thomas is a great example to me of someone can work with all around the table, and an amazing young creator, and I'd say he's like the golden standard as to what like brands are looking for. He's got the look, he's young, he makes great videos, and he kind of does all over the board. He was in Monaco, I think, for Givenchy or something like that, and that's crazy. That's crazy that he was at Formula One with Formula One drivers. And he covers dupes fairly often. It's a suspicion of mine, but no, ultimately, I think as creators, as long as we have the reach, I think we are appealing to anybody in the space.
Okay. And how much do opinions of major influencers sway dupe brands?
Meaning what?
Like, if you liked Halfeti,
Yeah.
how does that weigh on the dupe brand? Like they go, oh, Cal likes it.
Yeah, great question. Huge, huge. I've realized that like a significant chunk of their business now is keeping their finger on the pulse of like what is popular, what's trending around the world. And that ultimately comes from like Halfeti's a great example. Halfeti is, I don't know, like 12 years old or something like that. And last year, after my video, it went crazy, crazy viral again. 12 years later after its release. And then we started seeing like a pretty decent amount of dupes coming out for it, if that makes sense. And that's just because they keep their eye on what's trending and what's popular. So yeah, I would say it definitely matters. Like Outlands was another great example. We spoke about that a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I think anytime something becomes popular on social media, yeah, for sure they keep their eye on it, and then within 4 months you'll see versions of that.
Okay. Well, since we brought up Outlands,
Yeah.
do you think it's possible to create artificial hype for random fragrance?
Yes and no. And I say yes just because from a professional marketing standpoint, I know it's possible. If if I was able to force every single big creator in the fragrance spot to like really amp up, X fragrance, that's going to become popular and then it will get duped. Where I say no is because ultimately fragrances become so popular because a few big creators speak about it and then that justification comes from the actual audience. The smaller creators on TikTok or the general public or reviews on Fragrantica, do you know what I'm saying? Like you can only artificially make a bad fragrance popular for so long before people figure out like, oh no, this is like really bad or something like that. So it's an interesting question, and I would definitely say like that's a yes and a no, but ultimately no, because the general public always ends up being the main decider on what's good and what's not good.
Okay. There's been a growing discussion about dupe brands using the same fragrance oils, synthetics versus natural notes, and perfumers that niche brands use that dupe brands use. Do you think these conversations are beneficial?
I retired myself from my couch talk because I got myself into some interesting controversy. I personally, as someone who doesn't wear my dupes, as someone who really likes my private line fragrances, I think the more information people have as a whole, that's always good for whatever society or club that is, right? So I think it's personally a good thing that people know that sometimes it's very similar oil coming from the same oil manufacturer. And in rare occasions, I would say maybe 5 out of 100, it's the exact same perfumer who has made the original niche one. And then he has then been allowed to create the dupe one. I think that's fascinating. I shared that because to me it was genuinely fascinating. I couldn't believe it. I was like, it almost upset me. It was kind of like a like the what's the word? How do I describe this? It was like the magic of all of this kind of just came crumbling down. And I was like, oh, this is literally just a business, and it's just oil to people at the top. That's all this is. It's just oil. It's flavored oil to people. They don't care where it's going. None of that. So it was a little bit upsetting, but I also found it fascinating that sometimes it's the same person who creates both, and it's not this like weird shady underground thing. Like it's been approved from all the way at the top. I was like, that's fascinating. So to me, yeah, I think it's beneficial that the audience or people who like dupes, I feel like they should have all the info that they need. To me, what do you think?
Um, I let's see what word this. um, I think that nuance in the conversation has been lost. Like it's not as black and white as this person is just using the same oil. Like there's nuance to the conversation, but I think because TikTok is so people aren't really listening for information. They're just like listening to be like, ah, I knew it. Like that's kind of the mindset instead of them having like a nuanced conversation about it. It's just kind of morphed into like a I knew it or you guys don't understand, and it's just kind of just like that back and forth.
I totally agree. And I can put my hand up and say, like, during my little couch session, I did a really poor job of explaining that, like, a dupe can be created upwards of 50 times. Like there's so many different roads they can take to recreate the smell of, let's just call it X. There's so many different roads to get to something that smells the same. I definitely did a big brush stroke of like, yeah, sometimes it's the same oil, sometimes it's the same ingredients, sometimes it's the same perfumer. That was a poor job on my part. But like if I revisit that topic again, like I'll explain better to where it's like, you know, when if I approach the factory and I wanted to dupe one of their fragrances, they give me a plethora of options. And one of those is using all the expensive ingredients to get very close to what they created. That's an option. An option is that same oil producer then has cheaper ingredients that smell almost one-to-one as the expensive natural ingredients. That's another route. There's so many different routes. And like you said, yeah, it kind of gets lost. And I think creators who have that knowledge, like myself, need to do a much better job of explaining that, because then I can see where people legit thought I was paid off by like big Dubai bucks to be like, hey, it's the same perfumer that creates every single dupe. And that's not what I was saying at all. I did a really bad job of explaining that.
Well, since you were talking about the general, this is what you were talking about. There's been a lot of talk about toxicity as well in the fragrance community. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's for the most part, I'm super lucky. Like me and my audience are like, I love my community. We are completely cool with doing our own little thing. And like someone just told me that there's like beefing in the comments. So it's like, do you know what I'm saying? And I came to the realization like not a long time ago, because I struggled with it a little bit on how to like, hey, how do I please everybody in this? Like, how can I prove myself to everybody? It's impossible. It's not possible. I think I average, let's just call it 5 to 10 million views a week. It just depends. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. If we took 5 million humans and put them in a room and told them all that the sky is blue, for the majority, most part, people are going to be like, oh yeah, it is blue. There's going to be a small section that's like, well, it's this shade of blue. And then quickly, that's where then like the division just starts, right? And it's the same thing for fragrance, because it's such an interesting niche, and it's so subjective. So subjective. Leah and myself do not like similar scents. We always have opposing views or opinions on like what smells good, what doesn't smell good. And when you take that and apply it to the whole global fragrance community, it's impossible for us all to agree that one, does X and X smell good? That's going to be yes and no. And then again, because this is just a business to the people at the top, you have so many different debates and arguments for so many different pieces of our hobby, if that makes sense. So yeah, the toxicity / negativity, it's expected. It's the way the world works, you know. And because it's something so subjective, it's impossible for any creator or any company, anybody to avoid that. It's impossible. And no lesson was greater learned than when I did the charity sale and I donated $20,000, and there was a creator who made a hate video on that. And that's when I fully learned, like, oh, you could donate $20,000 for children and their jackets, and someone could somehow take offense to something and like go on full attack. And there was like 50 people in the comments that agreed with exactly what he was saying. So it's impossible to win. It's impossible to win.
Well, since we brought up Joma Shop, let's move on to something a little lighter. You are, at least to my knowledge, you're the only influencer that can push Joma Shop to have flash sales. Is having that kind of power daunting?
No, it wasn't. And I think that's also like something that I'll be stopping to do as well. Because like looking back, that was really the start of like my negativity in my community. And when I went into it, I never expected that I could upset so many people. But now that I look back on it, if there's 10,000 people in a live wanting to win something for $1 and only 10 people are going to win, I'm upsetting 9,990 people when I do those. And out of those, you're going to really upset some people to where they're like, you're a scammer. This is a lie, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, those for the foreseeable future on my end are done just because it's just not worth. I always tried to convince myself it was worth it for the 10 people who won, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I just can't continue to piss off 10,000 people weekly, even though it was like a fun thing to do. But no, it was a fun agreement, and it's still in place with Joe Mashak that like that I'm the only person who can do that with them, and plenty of other content creators have contacted them to try and do something similar because it's a fun thing to do for a community, and the reward as a content creator is the virality that comes from it. But it's not worth the backlash to me anymore.
And how did the partnership with the shop come about?
Completely organically. I've been a customer of theirs for, I want to say 2 years before I started creating content. So like if I scrolled all the way down to the bottom of my videos, before they ever knew who I was, I would always like in a review, I would say like, this is where I got it from. And because I have that like professional media background, I would always put like the pop-up of like the price because it helped me not answer the same question that I would get in every video. Where do you get this from and how much was it worth? How much was it basically? So that's something I had just been doing from the day I started creating content. And I guess within like 2 weeks, they had seen one of those videos that I did. And then they just figured on like, what can we do together moving forward, etc. So yeah, completely. And it was great for me because I spent a lot of money every single year with them. Still do, but it was just like cool that I got that like recognition from them.
Okay. Now you are considered a blind buy girl. Do you actually support blind buying?
For my core audience, no, because I know better as an adult that no no teenager or young adult should be blind buying fragrances because it's not a financially smart thing to do. Like it can go south really quickly. There's always ways out of it to whether they sell it or trade it, which is how I learned how to trade fragrances. Um, but no, I know that it's not a smart, responsible thing to do. But as a 30-plus-year-old who can like I can afford it, it's something that I enjoy. It's one of the few things that I like splurge and spend my money on. For people who enjoy that thrill as well, yeah, like knock yourself out. For me, blind buying is just another fun part of the fragrance experience for myself. Um, some people love to go and smell. I get way more of a thrill of like looking at something and I'm like, I'm just gonna buy it and see if it works or it doesn't work. But no, I always would say the majority of people should be sampling or trying it before they buy it, unless you know how to trade fragrances or resell your fragrances. But I genuinely don't see it that big of a deal because it is just like a fun part of fragrances.
And how do you decide which fragrance is the blind buy?
Often at the moment, it's just like whatever is like most requested by my audience. Like sometimes I'll just see the same fragrance over and over again. Like for example, like if a new Louis Vuitton fragrance is coming out, I kind of just get ahead of that because I know it's going to be requested a lot. Um, or if I do a dupe review, I will get a lot of people then recommending the other, like let's just say if there's 4 other dupes of what I just reviewed, I'll do it that way. Um, Genuinely, just like it's like an ebb and flow situation. Sometimes it's audience requested, sometimes it's just because it's what I've had my eye on, or if I see another creator who gets the video and they like pump it up, I'm like, oh, it's all different ways.
Okay. Is there anything coming up that you want to drop hints about?
Yeah, definitely the new Louis Vuittons. Definitely the new Platforms de Marley. Um, and that also comes from like, because as a content creator, there's also like, today is a great example. Like, look at those cowboy hats. As a content creator, so I did a review on Guerlain's Vetiver something today. The video flopped, like absolutely flopped, right? And it's funny because it's like people are always like, "Why do you do so many dupe videos?" One of the reasons is because we get asked, as content creators, we get asked all the time to review them. The second one, it's a free viral video for content creators. Whereas if I just spoke about Colognes all the time and I just had flop after flop after flop, it's an expensive way to not have successful videos, if that makes sense. So we're in this like weird polar opposite to where the really expensive niche stuff doesn't perform well for social media. Whereas the cheap fragrances, the $20 fragrances, not only are they cheap to acquire, the views and the reward, like the financial reward from TikTok, is so much greater than spending $600 on a niche fragrance. So you kind of get stuck as a creator, like falling for that trap of just going for the cheap viral videos. But I know I also need to sprinkle in those others every once in a while. But yeah, like Parfums de Marly, I know just like my audience, they love Parfums de Marly. So those videos are always going to be like a smash hit home run. And if you, and this goes out to anyone watching, like if anyone out here is the first person in the world to do a semi-decent video of one of those new expensive releases, it's a viral video every single time for that person. So I always try and be one of the first like 10 people to get that video out of something new.
Okay. Now, speaking of viral, when you first went viral, what was that like?
It was so fun. It was literally my first like 5 videos. They would go to like 200 views and then they would creep to 1,000. Me and Leah always speak about it. It was literally one summer day in June or July. And I posted a video. We jumped in the pool and within like 10 minutes, I looked at the views and I was expecting like 100, but I was at like 3,000. And I was like, oh, whoa, we were like freaking out in the pool. We were like, oh, we just hit it. We just went viral. And then throughout that whole day, like it was like 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, and it was a video of Leah. And that was, I believe, our first million view video. And that was really fun. It was really, really fun.
Do you feel any anxiety about posting?
No, not anymore. I think I used to, but like one of the lessons I learned from that charity video is like, no matter what it is, you're gonna please 90% of the people watching whatever the video it is, and there's gonna be 10 people that are really upset with whatever you're saying or whatever you're doing in the video. So you kind of just, as a creator, you kind of just learn to accept that. If I post a video right now, 90% of people are going to enjoy it, and then there'll be just like 10% of people who are just like not that thrilled with whatever you said, whatever the topic is, et cetera, et cetera. So there's no, you just get to this point where you realize you can't win on every single video and you can't please every person. So yeah, that anxiety I would say kind of disappears. I'd say the majority of the anxiety comes from like a video that like underperforms, if that makes sense. That I don't know why it's still really just like not stings, but it's like for me, my metric of like a viral video, like if I get to 20,000 views within an hour, I know it's going to 100 within the day. I would consider that viral. And whenever that doesn't happen, I'm always just like, what did I do wrong here?
So how does it feel to deal with massive engagement both online and offline? Do you ever find it to be overwhelming?
Yes and no. I would say like like the channel has recently entered into this like weird phase to where I'm not like the couch video is a great example. Like a couple months ago, I could create a video like that and it really wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't really create controversy or it wouldn't give people an opportunity to create content. It wouldn't make it to Reddit forums to where it goes viral in Reddit. Whereas stuff like that has started to happen. So I kind of feel like I've been not excommunicated, but I don't feel like I'm allowed to be like a part of like the normal fragrance community anymore. Because like if I speak about something that could be a little bit controversial, it just takes on legs of its own and it just goes wherever the internet decides it's going to go. So that's been weird and like a little bit upsetting, I would say. Like I had to leave all the Facebook groups recently because they started like doxing my real name and stuff. And I was like, was like, I've been a member of this group for like 2 years. I've traded with so many people, like, had these conversations, and it's just at that point to where it's like, I can't do that stuff anymore. So that's been a bit of a bummer, I would say.
So you definitely, I don't know if you know who Wisdom is, but you definitely reached your wisdom moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like it. But yeah, so that's been an interesting one to where it's a little bit not mourning, but it's just like a bummer that I'm no longer able to just like enjoy creating fragrance content and just enjoying the community. I have to think about like the ramifications of what comes after people take a video and twist it. And that's not fun. It's genuinely not fun.
Have you been recognized just like outside?
Yeah. 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 A very odd but always really cool experience. Like when I came home the other night from New York, a guy recognized me on the plane, and then we were chatting at baggage, and I was there like in the airport opening my bags, and I gave him like a bottle because Ralph Lauren gave us like, I think they gave us like 4 bottles throughout the trip. No idea why. I was like, here, take this. So I love meeting people who watch the content, and I love just having conversations with them, and often giving stuff if I have it with me. I love giving stuff out to people.
Now, has an opinion of a fragrance ever gotten you in trouble?
Oh, yeah, big time. Yeah, big time. My first like controversial video was a video I did of Latafa Camera, the original. That was not good. Yeah, it just brought out like an insane group of people, and then yeah, it didn't it yeah. Latafa Camera, my original, because I didn't like it. I called it cheap and synthetic, which I still stand behind. I didn't. You don't do dupes at all, do you? Not at all. Yeah, you can skip Latafa Camera, but Latafa Camera Gala is very nice. Yeah, that video took off, and it was just this like mess of just people fighting, people attacking me. I got called a niche, like I'm a snob, I'm a trust fund baby, etc., etc. I was like, yo, what the hell? It's like, this is crazy.
So with that being said, do you feel an extra layer of pressure when reviewing fragrances because you're so popular?
Yeah, yeah, and it's I've caught myself doing it. I literally just did a dupe fragrance the other day for Blonde Amber, and in the video, and I've decided to stop doing what I did in this video. I'm like, I need to be careful of the language that I use here, etc., etc. I'm like trying to cover my back from like repercussions instead of just flowing how I always flow. And basically, in that video, to me, I was like, I was getting to the point to where the dupe smelled better to me because I'm not the biggest fan of like leather, incense, resins. So I just preferred this dupe because they kind of toned that down. But I went into this over explanation of like, I'm going to be very careful with how I say this because I don't want to come across as like I'm selling you this fragrance, or I don't want to come across as, XYZ. Whereas when I first started, I was just like, here's what I have to say about it. Here it is. So yeah, definitely I've become over cautious about, sitting down and recording fun videos or anything like that.
Now, what is your content creation process like?
I batch record. So that means so every day when I wake up, I test fragrances on my hand. So I'm usually in a t-shirt at home. So I'll spray, if this is like for duplicate fragrances, basically, I'll spray the fake one here, the original one here, and then I'll test that throughout the day. But I also spray another one here and another one here. So whenever I wake up, I start testing 4 fragrances. And then I'll do that for the day. And then maybe 3 to 4 times a week, I will sit down, go over all the notes I made of those fragrances. And then, yeah, ask me if Product Paradigm is top 3 of all time. Come back to me on Product Paradigm. And then I batch record. So like I have notes of about 15 videos, and then I sit down and record all those videos at once. And that's typically how we handle content creation like this for businesses around Arizona too. Like we'll kind of get everything organized, scripted. We go into the building and then we'll film 30 to 50 pieces of content for that month. we take it away, we edit it, and then we manage the uploading for the people. So yeah, so I test like 20 fragrances a week, and then 2 to 3 times a week I'll get all of those filmed in one session.
That sounds like a lot. I could barely record 4 videos in a week.
Oh, really interesting. Have you ever tried batch recording?
Yes, but it
Okay.
feels very unnatural to me.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
don't know how to explain it.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
How has your content style changed since you began?
I try to stay ahead of what other people are doing, just because I feel like I came in and I took the content creation to like a professional level, and now there's so many people doing that. I feel like I have to kind of keep evolving it. Thanks for the cowboy hat. A little bit, but I'd say it's very similar. Like when I look back on videos from last year, it's very, very similar. I've just become a little bit like quicker at delivering the message, because ultimately, like, people just need to know, like, if I'm reviewing this, they just need to know how long does it last, what does it smell like, what are the notes, like, that's it. That's all they need to know. Like, they don't need a whole map story about the fragrance.
I've had to catch myself from doing that too. Like I'll be editing and I'll just be like I'm rambling, and I'll just like.
Yeah, it is hard.
So how do you handle the negative criticism?
For the most part, like, it doesn't bother me. It bothers me when it comes from like other creators, because like, I think a lot of people, especially creators, they always forget somehow that, like, eventually, if you're a big enough creator, we're all going to end up in the same, like, location, whether it's a City Rhythm event or it's in Dubai or it's in France. We're all going to see each other, and I am just a regular guy, and I like to handle confrontation like a regular dude. Either we're going to get on the phone and we're going to discuss it, we're going to talk this out as like grown civilized humans, or let's not be civilized and sort it out that way as well. However you want to sort it out, let's sort it out. So when it comes from creators, I always used to, whereas now, like, I just have to just ignore it because it just is what it is. Yeah, you just kind of got to ignore it. I just ignore it, and I always one of the best tips I can give for people is when they are giving you negative comments in your video, just tell them thank you for the engagement. Like, it gives your video great engagement. Thank you very much. And typically those people never comment again, because the last thing they want to do is help you out, and that's a good way to stop them.
Sounds like you've had to square up a couple times.
Have definitely spoken to creators in real life, 100%. 100%.
Cal got hands. Y'all better watch out.
No, I don't have hands, but I'm also like, I'm 6'5" and I'm 280 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, even someone who can't fight or throw a punch, it's gonna hurt. That's a lot of weight behind.
So what makes a review good or bad? Like, if I were reviewing a fragrance, what when you look at me, what would make it good and what would make it bad?
If I don't get the information, and again, I just make content. I just make content for people like myself, and I make content for myself, and I need to know, what does it smell like? So if someone can describe that picture, whether that's like an object, that's always helpful for me. How long? What's the performance like? That's important to me. And then I need some sort of note breakdown. Other than that, that's golden. That's all I need from a fragrance review. And then it helps if I know what the price is or where to get it, stuff like that. But otherwise, I think if you cover those 2 to 3 things, it's a great fragrance review.
Is there anything that you regret doing or saying?
That's a really good question.
It's a chicken.
Someone said, that's hilarious. No, product paradigm, no, not at all. Actually I do. Like, one of the things, like, I would say coming in and like putting my flag in the ground of like I'm not gonna be do TikTok shop. Yes, someone just said that. Yeah, I would say now is like a bit of a regret. Um, but like it is what it is. It is what it is.
So what was it like to get your first PR package?
It was like genuinely like just pictured back to when you were like 8 years old and you asked Santa for something and it came. That exact feeling. It was crazy. I think it was something from Goldfield and Banks. Um, yeah, I think it was something from Goldfield and Banks, and it was just like the most insane thing. Like it was wild. It was like Christmas.
When is it a good time for creators to reach out to brands?
Oh, such a good question. If you're not averaging 10 to 15,000 views a video, put your head down and keep focusing on getting your platform to that level. Because for these brands, it's a if it's PR, if it's gifted PR, it also it also comes from they need something in return for their gift. And typically, from what I've seen, like that return is at least 10,000 views on a video. Now, people get sent PR all the time and they're not averaging that, and that's completely fine for brands because if they do like a volume approach and 100 people get 1,000 views, that's a lot of views still for them. But I would say for people, don't worry about PR or working with brands until you're at 25,000 followers and you average at least 10,000 views a video. Other than that, just focus on creating a platform that achieves those numbers day in and day out. And then they find you. The brands always find you when you get to that level.
How much money are brands willing to pay for reviews and exposure?
A lot. A lot more than I think people realize. I I did a so there was I've done a few designer releases this year, and I saw one comment that was basically someone said like I can't believe he decided to like sell out for chump change, and I think the person put like $1,000 or something like that, and I thought that was really interesting that people think it's $1,000 because for me off this one ad I took, and I say this as humbly and like respectfully, gratefully. It's just I just want people to know like I took myself and Leah to Europe. We lived in Europe for July. I flew my mom, my sister, my grandmother to Switzerland, and we stayed in I think it was the Mandarin Oriental for a night, and we had this incredible experience in Switzerland off of one ad, and it was all covered. So like living in Europe, Airbnbs, hotels, etc., was all covered. So yeah, when people are like, "Oh, you sold out for chump change," I'm like, one, I don't agree that it's chump change, but no, it's significant. And to answer your question, it can range from I would say if someone has 500,000 followers and they do a video that's syndicated, which means it's posted, you get paid to post it to TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. At 500,000 followers, it can range from between 10,000 and $35,000 for
Okay.
one video.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. What did you think it was? What did you think it was?
Um, I mean, I come from a fashion background, so I used to work for modeling agencies.
Okay.
So I know how they work. Like I have a concept, but I think because fragrance is like a new like category that people are exploring. Like 10 years ago, fragrance was not like this. So I thought it was maybe like 10 to like 30, like around there. But
Yeah.
like it's nowhere near like I'll give you an example. Macy's catalog, they used to like they would shit on commercial models because they're not high fashion models. They'd be like, "Oh, you're a commercial model," but Macy's paid if you did their entire spread, they paid like 200 to $400,000.
Ooh. Yeah, that's
So it's
crazy.
like it's good money. You're just not as it doesn't come with fame, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but now dead and gone. So,
So I would say, yeah, on average, for someone with 500,000 followers, it can range from like 10 to 30, and sometimes more. I've heard of people getting upwards of like 65 for one video. So it ranges.
got a long way to go. Have you ever turned something down because it doesn't align with your brand?
All the time. So like um it's a good question. I can't remember what video I moved on, but like I get about, so I don't know how many brands like this there are, like Valentino out there in Sephora. What would we say? Like 40?
Yeah.
I get about 1 to 2 a week offers to do one of these types of videos where it's like big bucks and it's syndicated everywhere. I end up doing 2 to 3 a month. So all the time, myself and I know other big creators are passing up these videos all the time when it doesn't align with them. However, I will, if I can do the video while still being 100% authentic and honest to myself, I'm doing it. Like I did an ad for Nautical Voyage. Everyone in this chat just started laughing because Nautical Voyage is like synonymous with like a joke or a meme in our industry at the moment. But I was able to push back enough with that agency to where everything I said in the video was completely fine and true. Um, so yeah, I try to always capitalize as just a human who has bills in life on those. But if the brand doesn't give me the leeway to say the things I want to say about it, I pass on them all the time, all the time. But like that nautical voyage was like one that I was able to really push back on, and I was still able to do the ad for them.
Okay. So, these are the last couple of questions. These are just fun ones. Who are your favorite creators?
Oh my gosh. Um, I really like um, my favorite. I think will always be TJ. He was someone who I used to watch. TJ Talksense was someone who I used to watch um, religiously. Jay is one of those. Marshall is Scent Addict. I love your own like, demeanor. All the guys in like kind of my like lane that we do, I have a really good relationship with all of them. Like Cologne Boy, Maddox, Fragrance Knowledge, Samir. There's genuinely not a single creator out there that I have like issues with or I don't like. If that makes sense. And even on like the girl side of things, I really enjoy Michelle's content. Her and I started like together. Uh, um, yeah, I really enjoy like a lot of people's content.
Do you actively consume fragrance content?
No, no, because it messes me up. So if I see that's the reason I don't. If I see if I'm going to sit down and do a video on this tonight, and I see a video on it, it's kind of messed with what I was going to say, and it messes with like my flow on things. So no, I don't necessarily consume as much as I used to.
So, what is on your FYP?
A lot of politics stuff at the moment. A lot of like Michael dancing videos, a lot of the weekend music videos, a lot of sports, NFL sports stuff at the moment. Really, and planes. I have an obsession with planes, like aircrafts. So I get a lot of plane videos, which I love.
Okay. um, would you ever have your own fragrance line?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. And what tips do you have for content creators who want to reach your level?
You need to be putting out 5 high quality videos a week at minimum. One of the saddest things and just like realization that I know for fragrance is part of the reason I think my account took off so quickly because of the size of my collection. The same thing for Flan. Um, Fragrance is this weird thing that if you only have 5 fragrances, it's very difficult to make enough content around those 5 fragrances to sustain a channel. Um, it's just like the honest truth with it. You need at least 50 fragrances to be able to I'll say milk those individual bottles for like 3 different videos each. The most important part is someone's camera, they're filming in high quality and they're editing in their own style. I would say stop to people's, here's the biggest one, stop doing giveaways. There's a lot of small creators who do a lot of giveaways and it does way more harm than they even realize. So like from a professional standpoint, we see that like TikTok needs to know you as a trustworthy, reliable, like you're gonna get 10,000 views a video. If you're someone that's in like the 1,000 view and every week you're doing a giveaway, which then bumps you up to 10,000, it's this like, not artificial, but it's this like, TikTok catches that. They catch that trick that you're pulling and it just like, it almost makes you like a one-trick pony in TikTok's eyes. So it's a bad place to get to. Now, creators like myself, I know Michelle does a lot of giveaways. We can get away with it because on average we're doing 25,000 views. So we don't get dinged by the platform for doing stuff like that. But yeah, one of the biggest things I would say to smaller creators or newer channels is stop doing as many giveaways as you're doing because it actually does back end harm to your account and they don't even realize that.
I don't do giveaways. So.
There we go. And that's just in my opinion, in my professional opinion.
Well, Cal, that is my question.
Michelle, that one, yes, 100%. That's kind of something I gatekeep also. Michelle just asked, is having links in your bio? Yes, 1,000,000%. So like I could do affiliate marketing through Joma Shop 24/7, right? I could have a link in my bio that links directly to Joma Shop where I have my top 100 fragrances and let's just say I get 10% of every sale. I know from a professional standpoint, anytime you have what we call as an external factor, so we're providing the viewer a way to exit TikTok, they don't like that. Because TikTok makes its money and its whole ecosystem is built on people sitting and scrolling, not exiting the app. So when you give people a link tree, a link in your bio to leave, in my opinion, it does harm. And I see it every single time Joma Shop, like if they do like a Black Friday sale and I have that linked for 2 days, it takes usually 2 days after I remove that from my account to then get functioning how it usually does. Yeah. Links for sure are not detrimental to people who survive it, like Noel Thomas, Cologne Boy. I believe they have links all the time. But I notice whenever I put something in my links, my account takes like a 25% hit in average views.
I unfortunately don't have that problem because I just stay in my same little lane.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You gotta ask me about Prada. You got
your Prada paradigm? I don't know the lore of this, but
I learned a lesson from this one. I did. Okay. Have you smelled Prada Paradigm?
Mm-hmm.
I have heard from Sephora it's outselling everything. That's what they told me. It's outselling what from myself, etc. Those are from real normal consumers who are going into Sephora and they're smelling 15 things and they're leaving with Prada Paradigm, okay? The lesson I learned from this is when it comes to paid ads, I have to be very careful about the words that I use. So Prada, the one thing I was contractually obligated to say was 2 things. It's refillable, and you can get this now. It's Sephora or Ulta. I can't remember which one I have to say. That's it. The entire video was left to me to come up with. And I said, Prada Paradigm is a masterpiece. To me, it is. And I said, it's a future classic. Because to me, in my belief, it's a future classic. Meaning, the data that we already have from Sephora, that it's outselling everything else, is why I called it a masterpiece, because I was referring to the general public. Paradigm was not made for people like myself, you, the other people who live on fragrance TikTok every day. Paradigm was made for who they paid me to create the ad for, which is the general public. And for the general public to go into Sephora and smell the top 5, I did not say top 3 of all time. I said one of the best designers of all time. And that's my belief. I genuinely believe it's going to be one of the best men's designers of all time. Not in niche fragrances, opinion, etc., etc. Hard numbers, hard facts. I think it's going to be up there in terms of numbers, like the business side of what we do. So the lesson I learned from that is when I am doing a paid ad, I need to be very careful of my language. And I think I did a good job with like Nautica Voyage to where I didn't say anything like outlandish or out of pocket. Whereas when I smelled Paradigm, I was like, oh shit, like they have a winner on their hands here. As a business, they have a mass appealing commercial winner on their hands. We do. Yeah, so calling it a masterpiece and a future classic, I need to be careful of words like that. Even though I believe it, I just need to remember that I'm also creating content for a lot of like niche fragrance lovers. And to them, when someone gets on here and they're like, oh, this generic mass appealing scent is a masterpiece, they're like, how? How can that be a masterpiece? You know what I'm saying? Whereas I did my video for like the masses. So that's a lesson. That's a lesson that I learned for sure.
I will also add that something that I had to learn was because I like Herb Pure, and TikTok hates Herb Pure. Hates Herb Pure. But for me, I'm like, I had to separate TikTok from real life, because in real life, people don't know what Herb Pure smells like.
Right.
It's like this is the most amazing fragrance they've ever smelled. So I realized that early on. Like, TikTok is TikTok, real life is real life. Like, you can speak about something on TikTok and people like, this is terrible, I hate it. It's super ambers and Broxin, and then you show it to someone in real life and they're like, wow, this is amazing.
For sure. Someone in the comments said, we just want simple to perfection. Prada Paradigm is that. I 100% agree. And before I even got paid by Prada to do a video, I put it in one of my top 10 like winter designers or something like that. And I think in that video I described it as it's boring done to perfection. To me, someone who has 700 fragrances, I can appreciate that it's boring. It's a scent that I've smelled 100 times, but it's still perfect. They still hit a commercial home run. But yeah, that's a good lesson that I learned on that is I need to be careful. I do need to be careful with the words that I use to describe things, but I also can't put myself too much in this box to then where I'm not me anymore. I'm not like describing things as Cal's authentic self. And it's hard for the audience because when it's a paid promotion, they don't know if the whole thing is scripted. They don't know that legally I was just paid to say it's refillable and it's available at Ulta. The whole other rest of the video was just me free flowing in my closet there. But yeah, it's interesting, Mike over here. That's so interesting.
Do you notice a difference between TikTok's algorithm and Instagram's algorithm?
Yeah, TikTok is, and be careful of the word I use, is like an emotional roller coaster ex-partner. You kind of know what you're going to get with it, but you also have no idea. Like sometimes you could do a video and it goes to 1 million and you're like, wait, why? Why did that? What happened? And then my review of the girl on this morning got stuck at under 10K. I'm like, great, sick, awesome. Whereas Instagram is steady. It's like a soothing grandparent. Like every time I post an Instagram video, I know at minimum it's getting 30,000 views, sometimes a little bit more. But for the most part, it'll just get to 30 and then just simmer. So Instagram is very predictable. It's safe. I know what I'm getting from it. TikTok is like, kind of get put through the ringer of like figuring out like the hook, the this, the this, the this. And then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, Instagram is definitely the easier, more stable platform, but TikTok is that home run. TikTok is like, my account is like a great example because my Instagram is now at 100,000 followers, and I think a month I reach, let's just call it like 4 million people, whereas TikTok is 10 times that size, and I reach 7 million people a week. So TikTok is 10 times more powerful in terms of how many people you can reach, how many people follow you, the views, etc. It's 10 times better at what it does. It just doesn't do that all the time.
Are
But
you
TikTok is,
nervous about the TikTok ban?
yes and no. When we first got shut down, I have family in the UK and they created an account for me in England. So I have my couch TikTok is my British account. It's registered under a British IP. All of that I get paid in pounds from TikTok themselves. So that's British. If ours disappears, my British account will still forever be there and be safe. But yeah, I am a little bit because we don't know. We don't know. No one knows. No one knows what's going to happen with the algorithm. I still don't know the answer, and this is something my clients have been asking me for my like actual work. Like, hey, are we going to get a new app? Do we have to download a new app for it? And I'm like, I don't know yet. I try to stay on top of the press briefings every day, but as far as I know, it's just the algorithm shifts under the US's control. They're going to retrain it. Oracle will be maintaining and holding our data, but there's no real clear word on whether we have to download a new app, et cetera, et cetera. So a little nervous, but I have done things to protect myself, which is like really focused on YouTube the last 6 months. That's grown nicely, and then Instagram as well is at a point to where, like, if my TikTok disappears and all the brands that I like, if Prada comes out with a new thing, like my rate will still stay the same with Prada, just based on like where I'm at in the industry, et cetera, et cetera. So for myself, not too nervous, but I'm definitely nervous and like a bit sad for up and coming slash smaller creators because that's if they have just prioritized TikTok, it's a tough spot to be in if it kind of shifts and disappears. And another piece of advice I would say to everybody: you have to diversify. You have to. You have to be posting every single video you post on TikTok, then has to go on Instagram, and then it has to go to YouTube Shorts. It takes an extra 10 minutes out of your life, but you just have to do it to like future proof yourself, essentially. Are you on
Um,
Instagram?
I am. I need to be better about it. But if TikTok goes away, I'm fine with that. I'll just go on YouTube. I feel like YouTube is more my style. Like I don't feel like I have to like compress it to like under 3 minutes. Like I feel like I can just like people go to YouTube specifically for information versus like TikTok. It's like it's just meant to be like fast and consumable. So I'll just be on YouTube.
Yeah, fair. And YouTube, even like from a professional standpoint, YouTube is like king in terms of like not king in terms of like views and stuff like that, but YouTube I would say is still the gold standard. If you can make it on YouTube, especially now, like you're considered like a golden child, you know, because it's like, oh wow, if you were able to be successful on YouTube, you've got something special going on, basically. Um, and I feel like YouTube is, I'd say, fairly safe. It's something that was created here. It's owned by Google. There's not much that can ever really like shift hands. It's not going to get sold. Google's never going to sell YouTube. Google's never, I'd say, for the foreseeable future, is not going to disappear as we know it. Um, yeah, for me, if someone told me, would you rather have 900K on YouTube or TikTok? On YouTube or TikTok, I'm taking that YouTube for sure. Very grateful that TikTok is my biggest, but I'd for sure much rather be a massive YouTube creator over TikTok. But I'll take it. I'm not complaining.
All right, Cal. I've taken up enough of your time.
I promise you haven't. There's lots of questions in the comments. I promise I'm good. If there's questions in the comments, Cal's a scammer. Nice.
I'll let you fight that battle. I'm not.
There's nothing to fight. I got called a scammer for the children's charity, so it's like there's not what am I supposed to do there?
Like I said, I don't know. When people, I feel like we've started to see like this conversation of like people quitting, and it's always like, oh, the toxicity made me quit.
Yeah.
And I made a video about it, and I was saying like, I feel like I don't want to offend people, but like nut up, like
Yeah.
it's the internet. Like, the internet is never going to be nice. You're never going to find like someone that just like an entire group of people that just completely love you. There's always going to be someone that's going to be like, I don't like you, and you ask them why, and it's like just because.
Yeah. 1,000%. And like the majority of it, what I've found is not even real hate or real anger. It's literally just this like, Flan is in here. Me and Flan caught a dude out like to perfection. It was so comical. This goes back to the Prada thing of like, on my video for Prada, he said, "Oh, this was a boring fragrance. Can't believe you found it interesting. Weird. Dot dot dot." Like implying that like I only found it interesting or nice because I was paid to say so. But on Flan's video that Flan made like 2 weeks prior, the same guy left a comment and said, he left a comment and he said, "Love this fragrance. It performs really well. Something like really, really nice." So it's like even the same people can't even have the same hate on the same fragrance. It's just like even their hate is subjective. Like depending on like the day, they'll completely shift their mind to like fight with whoever they want to fight with. And like I reached out to people before on like there was this one guy who just went in for like months. Eventually I just DM'd the person. I was like, "What's going on? Like, what is it?" And he said, "Honestly, you used to reply to me all the time in comments and you stopped. I was trying to get your attention." Like, dog. I was like, you have been like full on blasting me in comments. Like, what do you mean you just wanted my attention? But I understood it because me and this person did used to have, when I had 10,000 followers, it's a lot easier to keep up with those comments under the videos. And now when it's every video has like X amount of hundreds of comments, I try my best to stay on top of all the comments, but it's impossible. I can't reply to every single comment. But for me to see someone then take that and be like, nah, like I'm going to full on like shift this narrative and I'm going to just like hate you on every person's video because I want your attention, it's crazy. It's crazy. But for the new people quitting, I understand it because like some of them are like kids and it's hard because it's like, it's their first dose of like, yeah, the internet can sometimes be a really horrible place. And my heart genuinely like goes for those people who just got to the point of, I'm getting so much hate for my opinion that I have to like leave this space because my mental health can't take it. To me, that's crazy. That's crazy that people did that to that person. And it's like, yes, I agree with what you're saying of like, we all need to toughen up, et cetera, et cetera. We do, but the bullies also need to like relax on certain people, I think it goes too far in this fragrance thing. But then it's like they go too far in every industry. Every niche, every industry, people go too far on the internet. Yeah, it's wicked, man. It's wicked. Dev, I could not believe. So again, I don't know if a lot of people know that I'm black, right? Black and white. I could not believe it came from a creator of color who was also black, who made the video against me, calling that like sale like a scam. So it came from like not only my community of like fragrance people, but it came from my people as well, who were like, yeah, you're a scammer. This Joma Shop thing's a scam. You're a fraud. And then people in the comments just like went crazy with it. And then for me to then donate the 20 grand and still have like my own people being like, scammer. That was like a holy shit, dude. Like these streets are tough. These streets are really tough out here. Really, really tough.
Well, speaking of that, do you find that people, like when you respond to people, do you feel like they're trying to get you to respond to ride off your coattails?
And that person did it to perfection and I fell for it. So that person was stuck at under 250 views on every single video for months. I then made a response video when I finally donated the money and had like the receipts. I did a response video, and a few people tagged him in the video. His account for the next 2 days, his like 5 most recent videos all got to like 50K views. So the person who was just like posted in the water, could not even get to 1,000 views, got this like prop up of like free engagement basically because I responded to a thing. So yeah, moving forward, like I don't engage with it. I will never do response videos ever. If it's with creators, I'll just speak to them in person when I see them because eventually we all see each other. That's just how I'm doing it moving forward. Yeah, I'll just speak to people in person. That's how.
Will you be
That's
at
how.
Explore?
Yeah, potentially, I'd like to be. Yeah, potentially. Are you gonna be here?
Of course, it's literally right there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd love to be there, but it's not like planned or anything done at the moment. A question I get asked a lot that there's 200 people in here too is like, why do I continue this like relationship with Jewelry Shop when I know there's so many different discounters or cheaper discounters? And that's such a good, valid question. And for me, it's like, have you ever said, where do you live in New York?
I live like on the outskirts of New York.
Okay. You've never been to their facility or anything like that, right?
No, it's in Brooklyn.
So they have this enormous facility. It's like the size of like an Amazon warehouse, and it's all run by robots. Now I know from doing stuff with the Middle Eastern, like I did my thing with Rayhan, all of the stuff that they sell is like authentic, real. There's been a few videos that I've seen recently on like fake discounters selling fake products, etc., etc. I've never wanted to cover videos of like this discounter is fake, don't buy from them. I don't want that on my conscience. I don't want to like destroy someone's business, even though they are scamming people. I'm not just getting involved with that. It has nothing to do with me. With like the Jewelry Shop and the other bigger companies, they have like direct relationships with the Colognes Info, all the niche brands. They get all of their Arabic stuff from directly from the brands in Dubai. And a lot of people don't realize that fragrances are one of the most fake things on earth. That's just a genuine like statistics fact. So like cheaper Middle Eastern fragrances have buku amounts of fakes. Like of like Latafa Assad, there are like 6 different versions that are fake of Latafa Assad, which is a $20 fragrance. So for me, I've always like been comfortable knowing that, yeah, my audience might pay an extra $5, $10, $15 with this discounter. At least it's not retail, and at least I know it's real and it's legitimate, if that makes sense. I would always tell people, always, when they're like, oh, I can get a Parfums de Marly from $120 on some random name I've never heard. I'm like, you could. I don't know if it's real for $120. I would definitely recommend you spend the $180 where you know it's going to be real, and as long as you're not paying retail. That's all my concern has been about. But yeah, I do need to be paying back the boxes from them.
Do you think the how do I want to explain this? Do you think the political landscape right now is going to affect your future with them?
It could, and it was something that I basically brought up things that were brought up to my attention that were floating around on the internet. And I said, if these are not removed, I need to reevaluate myself, and then I need to make my decision for myself. They remove them. I do my best to keep all politics out of everything I do, fragrance-wise. I don't even speak to some like smaller brands anymore because they've like gone into that like political realm, and I just don't leave me out of it. Basically, I think if they ever took like a more political stance, then yeah, no, I'm out for sure. But as long as they remain neutral, focus on selling fragrances, that's all I require out of like any partnership I need to have. For me, like someone who's entitled like, well within their own right to believe or support whatever they want to because I do for myself. And I donate money to certain smaller organizations that are in need of help at the moment on my own private time. I do that. It is an interesting one because I think we know we're referring to the same thing. And yeah, it was, but yeah, I factored more than just that thing. I also thought about my audience and where do they get their fragrances from. The potential, but as long as people are just focusing on the business side of things and not taking political stances, like for me, that's fine. Because then if I take the opposite stance of what they take, then I don't know, then I just open myself up to the side. There's no winning in this situation.
Yeah.
There's no winning in that situation. Yeah, that's an interesting one, but I have thought about it. But yeah, the stuff was removed at, I'll say, my request.
Yeah. Well, it is 11:36 over here.
Oh, you're calling this quits because you're tired.
I'm an old man.
Fun. We were just getting into it.
I also have to like trim this down a lot. Like usually I just stop.
That's fair.
But I do love my sleep.
What do you do right now?
I'm sorry.
What do you do full time?
So I am a appraiser, basically.
Okay.
So I do appraisal and authentication. So I work with rich people that want to sell their stuff.
Doing what? Appraising what?
Like they'll have like a Birkin, for example, and I'll say, oh, Birkin is this, it's worth this.
That's cool. Do you ever do watches?
Yeah, but I'm not a good. I don't have like certifications. So in general, I know what to look for, but like watches, you have to take them apart to authenticate them.
Okay.
Because they use a lot of like branded hardware, like pieces inside of the watch that you have to like look at,
Yeah.
and you have to be able to take it apart and then put it back together. So it's very involved.
Yeah. Good. Interesting. That sounds fun. We should chat more about that. What a fun world.
It's interesting. You deal with a lot of people.
I bet. Yeah, you must meet a lot of people from especially where you live, who come from a different. Yeah, that's interesting. We'll have that conversation another time. That's an interesting one.
I also come from fashion, like I said. So
Yeah.
I've known a lot of the top models that are around now that are like more seasoned. I know who I've worked with them, so I've had a very varied life.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Well, I do want to say thank you for this conversation. It was sensational. And I appreciate your intro. It was a very nice intro. Really, really nice. I was taken aback. I wasn't sure what dev I was going to get tonight.
I can be nice.
It's true.
I can also be mean.
That is also very true. But we're going to be good moving forward, hopefully.
We were never bad. I don't know why people say that.
Dev, why don't you try some Middle Eastern fragrances?
I just don't have any. Like I don't have any like feeling of smelling something that I've already smelled.
That's fair. People would love your take on it, though.
Like I would just be telling people it smells like it. I feel like that's what most of my videos would be.
Yeah, and that's all people want to know from you. They just want to know how close it is. That's it. And how long it lasts?
I don't know. I don't find any fun in smelling something that I smelled 3 months ago and then coming back to be like, I smelled it again.
Fair. That's fair. What's your thoughts on the Middle East duping discontinued stuff now? Because it pissed me off royally.
I mean, I like again because I come from fashion. Like I understand why they exist, like why they do what they do. But unlike fashion, I don't think that fragrance is a necessity. Like clothes are a necessity. Like you need to wear clothes. You don't need to wear fashion fragrance. So I think I think that like it's kind of like a gray area for me because it's like they're making something that you can't get that the brand will release. So yeah, I see it. But other than that, I just find dupes to be it's just a little lazy to me. It's like you have the budget, you have the artistry of making bottles,
Yeah,
interesting looking bottles, and you
yeah,
choose to just make another baccarat dupe.
yeah. I hear that. And I also understand like the logic of like we have tons of original creations, but they don't sell and no one knows about them. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Fair.
I mean, I think that maybe that landscape has changed. Like if they put the same muscle behind an original fragrance and like a perfumer, and they were like, "Hey, Cal, can you talk about this new fragrance that's original from us from Kenton Beach?" I think that
Yeah,
would do fine.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, hopefully they start to do that more. But yeah, from the some of the numbers that they do, like I also understand it. Like if I was in their shoes and Blue Talisman goes viral, yeah, I'm gonna do Blue Talisman because I know the amount of money that we're gonna make from it as a family is like is generational money. So I get all sides of it. I do. I do. You think it's last question from me to you? Do you think it's foul for me to not wear dupes?
Um,
Because this was
no.
something that I did recently. It was like, oh, he said he doesn't wear his dupes. I'm like, yeah, I've always said that. I've never said that I wear my dupes. I wear them to test them, but I don't wear them. Like, why would I wear them when I have the original right behind me?
I mean, I think it's because maybe people don't know that you're coming at it from a like I'm just reviewing it, not like oh I like it. Like you just here to say it smells like that, it smells like this, but it's not like it's almost like your job basically. Like I'm just clocking in and then I clock out.
Right, right. I'm trying to think how I can be more like careful or more like make the reviews better about being like, yeah, this to me smells 98% similar and it lasts 2 hours less, but I don't wear it. I'm gonna wear the original that I paid $600 for. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know how I could be more interesting. That's one I guess.
I guess you could just present it as I spent $600. You could spend 50.
Yeah, literally. And that's why I felt so stupid about that most recent. I spent $600 on a discontinued JPG again because I like collecting. I just like collecting things, so that it's been fun for me to collect things that are not for sale anymore. And then realizing that some of these brands are like, yeah, we know they're not for sale, and we're going to bring them back in the form of dupe. I'm like, oh my, no, yeah, all right, interesting. But yeah, I'll let you go to sleep. I appreciate this. It was a great chat, and I appreciate all the 200 plus people that were here and donated. That was an awesome, awesome live for everybody. We should do this more often.
I want to start a podcast, but it's kind of hard when people are not in the same time
Yeah,
as me.
that's
Like
fair.
I did one with Remy, and he's 8 hours ahead of me, so it was like not an ideal time to doing a live, but for him it was. So it was. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out.
Fair, completely fair. Well,
But
sir, I'll let yeah, do it. And I hope to be an actual guest on that one day.
thank you so much. Thank you. Greatly.